think we need cracker jokes at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah,
Just break some ice. That's what she needs. No, are you ready?
Let's get it.
All right, yo. What's up? It's Woody Starks.
Starks the artist.
And you are now tuned in to the Just Different podcast, where we talk everything faith, life, and culture. We have a very special guest in the building today. We actually got a full house. Y'all can't see everybody, but it's crazy in here. But
yeah, it's like 10 people.
Full house, special guest. I'm really excited for this one. So, like, if you guys have been following us for a while and really know, like, the backstory of the podcast, which we mentioned, what was that episode? Testimony service. Yep. Missing this in testimony service, basically about how, like, the podcast got started, the origins of it and everything. This is, well, the person that we're with today is, like, one of the, like, most focal points of, like, how Just Different came to be. Like, if it wasn't for her and her pouring into us, I don't think, like, we'd be here today.
She's
or in front of you. OG for real. Like, locked in for L. Twin.
Like, before JD, she knew Jordan and Darin before Just Different.
Oh, yeah. Before he was Starks the artist, before I was D Starks, we was just Darin and Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was it. But introducing Brittnay Weird. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So for those who don't know, we mentioned this in testimony service, like I said earlier, but Brittnay, you want to tell the backstory though? You can go ahead and do it about how Just Different started.
Yeah, so basically, we had started going to this new church. It was during like a transitional time in both of our lives. We were going to a new school, then we started going to a new church. It was when I was like 15. This was like 4 years back. That was a long time ago. It's like 4 years back. And we started going to this new church, and she was one of the youth pastors at the church, right? And then her and the other youth pastors like sat us down. They were just like, they basically invested in us and said they saw something in us and like a gift in us to like speak and to sort of just pour into our generation. And that's where Just Different kind of originated. Like, they sat us down. We talked about the idea of a YouTube channel. They invested in us, gave us a camera, gave us money for merch, all types of stuff.
Like literally, like everything, like they gave us up front. Like, I remember, like, we went to their house. We had talked about it like on a Wednesday night. They brought up the idea. Then, like, not too long afterwards, it was a Sunday. We were at their house. We literally sat down. We got, like, you know, the logo together.
Crazy.
The ideas for, like, where we film content, what the ideas would be. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, exactly. So that was just that's where it all started, literally with her. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and now.
In the living room.
Yeah, in the living room.
On the couch.
In the living room on the couch. And yeah, I mean, since then, like, I mean, we essentially, like, been locked in. Even, like, till this day, she's a very integral part of, like, what we do, just pouring into us, encouraging us always. But I'm super excited that she's here. She is releasing a book that is entitled
soon to be published author.
Yes, soon to be. Well, no, it'll be published by this point.
Okay,
So it's published. It's already published. It's out. Yeah, this out.
It'll be released.
Yeah, it's gonna be released by the time this is out. But yeah, she's publishing a book called Finding Her, and like just her testimony and everything that she's been through is like absolutely amazing, extremely inspiring. So we wanted to bring her on because she definitely has a story and like something to say and value to give to people. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. It's just everything surrounding her book and also everything that has to do with like identity, finding yourself in God, and basically like coming back from, like, I guess, traumatic situations and things that you never thought that you would get out of. And so I'm super, super excited. So you want to go ahead and, like, I guess, introduce yourself to the people, like, you know, what you do now a little bit, and like your backstory of like how you got to this point and like releasing the book.
For sure. First off, I want to thank you guys for having me. It's an honor.
Of course.
Super proud of you guys. You guys know this. But yeah, so my name's Brittany. I've newly, I guess you want to call it, would prefer to go by B, and there's a little bit even like history with that or backstory. So God gave me this revelation with my discovery of like finding me. Of B is like one letter, so like remembering that like I'm an individual outside of anything that's attached to me. So like Brittany, obviously I love Brittany, love the name, whatever, but B just is a reminder for me to like that I am an individual outside of any role that I'm attached to or anything that I'm doing, anything that I have to offer. It's just that reminder for me. So that's new. I'm trying to like, you know, get used to like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like B. Sure. I like it though. I like it.
B.
So yeah. So a little bit on my testimony. Man, where do I even start? So if we take it way back, I was told to go to the womb.
From the womb.
From the womb.
Yeah, for where we at now.
So growing up, single mom. She had 5 kids, 4 different fathers, all absent fathers. Childhood was kind of rough, you know, as you can imagine, a single mom. We got taken from my mom about, I think I was like 5. CPS got involved. We got taken for a little bit, so that was kind of rough. Luckily, they kept me and my siblings together, so that was really dope. But mom bounced back. You know, she did what she had to do. She got us back. But from that point, mom, she kind of dealt with some substance abuse and things like that. So growing up, it was normal to be around drugs and alcohol and things like that. So I kind of fell into that myself. It was 14. I think I was 14 years old when I got caught selling drugs in school. Got kicked out, went to juvenile detention center. From there, got, you know, community service. Lost 2 siblings through this process as well. One to an overdose, and one she was in jail, incarcerated when she passed away. So yeah, childhood was rough. It was rough. Married at 15.
Yeah, she said 15.
That right there blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like that right there, being 32 and I have a 16-year-old. I wish somebody would.
Shout out Chris Lane.
No, like I wish somebody would. You know what I'm saying? Like I could not imagine her telling me that she was ready to be married.
Right.
She don't even know. You know.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't even know who she is. You know, fully. Yeah. What she's capable of, what she wants, like in life. Right. What, you know. So that, I think that is, for me, it took a lot of it's a lot.
For sure.
So yeah, married at 15, had her at 16. Got really plugged into religion, I guess you could say. And I say religion because it was rules. It was rule based. It was like making sure I don't do X, Y, Z, you know.
Of course.
Judgment, just like, so yeah, religion. So yeah, I don't want to get too much into like what the book's about. So from there,
okay.
we kind of, we'll launch the rest once we get into some deeper questions.
Okay, no, that's fair. But no, yeah, I feel like every time you hear your story, or at least you give it to somebody, they're always like, it's so inspiring. Like whenever I like bring my friends around you or anything like that. And I think it's like the fact that like you have so many testimonies. I feel like you always have like an updated testimony, which is something that like even I take from you, and like even models the fact that you're always looking for more of God and like the death of him, like in your story. Like there's always something new that like you're coming into and that he's revealing to you that like you can look back and be like, oh, he did that. Like I feel like you have like so much history with God.
So facts.
And
I think like therapy has helped me with that. Like therapy will reveal things that's like I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we'll be in sessions and I'll be wondering like why I responded like this, and like things will just come to surface where it's like, oh, that, like I remember that, you know what I'm saying? Like that CPS thing, like until I wrote my book, I didn't even realize like how much of like my insecurity, my abandonment, my like, you know what I'm saying? Like things that I still wrestle with today,
of course,
was tied to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's good. Yeah. So just seeing like what God has brought you through, like all of it, it's just like insane to me. But regarding like the book and like even the title, like what did that mean to you in terms of even the phrase or the idea of finding her?
Finding her.
Yeah.
So hence I didn't name it Found Her, because what I've learned is that there's never like final product. Like I'm continuing to find things out every single day. I'm continuing to learn myself and discover things about myself, and my goals change, and you know, so that's just a continual finding her. But the finding her concept comes from the cover was, I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
But it's like,
give him a good look.
I can see it. Yeah.
You see it? You feel me? So this was actually from a therapy session. We was digging deep, y'all. We was digging deep. And like, y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but hang with me, okay? I vividly saw myself, like vividly. Like I looked on the ground and like she was sitting there. Floors were concrete, walls were concrete. Like the therapist was like, is it a prison? Is it a basement? I was like, I don't know. Like I'm just telling you what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And she was like barefoot, jeans, black t-shirt. She was younger. She was about 14, head down on her knees. And she was just broken. She was crying. When I cried, she cried. So I knew we were connected. But my therapist was like, does she know you're there? And I was like, no, she doesn't know I'm here. So it was the realization that I had this broken part of me that like we were connected, but she didn't know I was there. So my pursuit is to find her and let her know I'm here for you. Like we're gonna get through this. We gonna work to find the girl on the back. So you got to dig to find her. You feel me?
That's hard. I like that.
Yeah.
That's so
no,
fire.
like you have to know your history to know where you're going. So it's like I had to go back through some things to find her. to find who I'm supposed to be. Unwire to rewire.
That's
Feel
the one.
me?
That's a bar.
Yeah, bro, she's already talking good. I want the book right now.
No, that's so good. And so like even I guess you kind of even mentioned it, like therapy being a part of that.
Yes.
Like what does the process look like of like finding her and like unwiring?
Number
doing
one is realizing that I didn't even know who I was. Like that was number one. And it only came whenever my marriage dissolved. We stepped out of ministry. My kids weren't as dependent on me. My siblings had their own lives. So everything that I had found my identity in was gone, where I was sitting there like, well, what now?
Right.
Like, who am I? Like, so it was unknowingly, I didn't even know that I didn't know who I was until all those things were stripped. So once I got to that place, it was then the pursuit of, okay, well, now let's figure it out. It was like, let's dig. So therapy was a huge, vital source in that. My mentor, coach, you the guy. You
Shout
the
out
guy.
Coach, gang.
No,
Shout
for
out.
real, because it was he seen something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And the accountability and the push and the assignments, like the creative vision board, Brittany, I don't even know what tomorrow looks like, let alone 5 years, but he pushed me out of comfort to do things so that I was like uncomfortable doing.
Of course, yeah.
But now it's in my daily, or not my daily, my yearly, every year I'm remaking this vision board. So it's little things like that. So mentorship, therapy, working out. Listen, y'all already know.
Yeah.
Y'all already know.
Okay,
Fitness
Jim
for
Rat.
me, no.
Okay, Jim Rat.
Fitness for me has become a lifestyle. It's like brushing my teeth. It's like it's gonna be done.
Yeah.
More than likely every day. But if it don't happen, it's okay, cool. But more than likely every day. But it was in there that I got the discipline and consistency to go to the gym that helped me when thoughts would come to get that discipline and consistency to combat the thoughts. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was learning discipline, learning consistency, pushing myself when I didn't feel like doing it, not let feelings lead. So the gym, therapy, mentorship, prayer.
Of course.
Obviously. Something that worked for me was my my development time, sermons. And I feel like everyone's got to find their person. For me, mine was Michael Todd. He was so seasonal. Like every time I was going through something, this man, it lined up with like, I was like, I feel like he's in my business, but I needed that. So for him, or for me, it was him. Everybody's got their own thing. Some people watch podcasts, motivational speeches, you know, all the things. But for me, it was sermons, Michael Todd, journaling. Definitely encourage journaling. That was a huge outlet for me. So those were some of the things.
No, yeah, that's so good. And then like, so you already gave part of your testimony. What are you taking people like, you know, through in this book in terms of like the story you're telling, or like you want people to know?
From the womb to the tomb.
Yeah. Go let us know. Or go give us a little sneak peek of the book.
You want me to read
No,
something?
I mean like just so the people know. Yeah, like the story.
So yeah, so it starts first, just kind of like, I guess like where I was when I started. Like I started it scared. I started it like I just felt so burdened to do this, to write a book. Like God just had laid it on my heart. And I was like, I don't even know what this looks like. I don't even feel qualified. I don't even feel like I'm an 8th grade dropout, bro. Like, you want me to do what?
Oh, you forgot that part.
I did. I'm sorry.
This is what you're getting into it.
See?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Technically, she did say that though, right? You got kicked out of school.
I got kicked out of school, but I didn't say I dropped out. Oh, I dropped out, but I went back on my GED. Education matters.
Word.
Associate's degree too. Don't forget that.
She did that. Let y'all know. She got a testimony for real. Yes. She didn't give y'all everything, but go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I felt so burdened to do it. And then again, God just pieces things together, because my mentor connected me with a guy. Y'all met Greg. He helped me move. Yeah. Greg had went through a divorce, so he kind of connected us because we had went through divorce, accountability. You know, we were processing some of the same feelings, things like that. And then there was a meeting that I was having with Greg that I was like, I just feel so led to like write a book. And he was like, I know a guy. And I was like, you do? He knew Chwani. Right. And then from there, it was just, I had no excuse. Like the only way that this wouldn't happen is if I stopped it from happening.
Right.
So yeah, I just felt burdened to do it. And what was the question?
That's a good point. The story you're taking people through in this book, like, you know, like what is?
Oh,
what
yeah.
Is that,
so I start with
entail?
that. I start with like how I'm doing this scared, how I'm pushing myself. Like in this moment, like what I'm about to encourage you to do, I'm literally walking through myself, because I feel like that's huge. We can't ask anybody to do anything that we haven't done ourselves.
Of course.
So that's kind of like how it starts, and then it gets into the testimony of like what I've went through. I walk through the CPS thing. I walked through some of my siblings passing away, my divorce, some things I went through in my marriage, ministry, religion. Walk through some of that, but then it gets into the what's worked for me and encouraging people to find what works for them so that they can find them.
Well, that's fire. I love that.
So I had a question I want to ask. So I think when it comes to something like finding yourself, there's a lot of frustration there, because a lot of people want the healing, but not the process that comes along with it. And especially in a day and age where like everything comes so quick, like I can get some food at the click of a button, like everything comes so quick. How did you deal with the process of it and kind of like sitting in God's timing and not trying to rush things and like dealing with that kind of frustration?
I feel like it was in the process that I truly found like nothing that comes quick is really worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like things that are valuable, you know, they take work. But I think frustration was a part of it, but it's getting so like content, I guess, with trusting. Like God's came through too many times for me to not trust that, like, yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I feel like I should already be through this. Yes, I feel like I should already, you know, whatever. But it's getting to that place of like, but God, I'm going to trust you. You know what I'm saying? And this is just me with some of the things I've went through. I don't think healing, there's a final destination. That's me personally. I feel like it's a daily decision to heal. It's a daily decision to forgive. Because I might be like, yeah, like I forgive you today, but let you do something tomorrow, and everything you've ever done is coming back up. Or guess what? I have to choose again to forgive. So I feel like healing for me, if I looked at it as like I should be there, then I'm going to be overwhelmed, because I don't think I'm ever going to just be there. I'm going to have triggers. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just feel like it's a daily thing. It's a daily decision to choose those things.
That's fire.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But frustration is definitely a part of it. I think frustration is just an area that's still showing you that you need to work on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
we were having this conversation. It was a brief conversation the other day outside the church, and we were talking about how, like, for me, it's always been a struggle kind of like asking for help and like being vulnerable with people in that sense. So what did that look like for you in terms of, because it's something you can't do on your own, like just process finding yourself. So what did that look like in terms of just being open and vulnerable with people so that you could get that help, like seeking out that help?
So I feel like this is something I still struggle with. For me, I guess, like, not having having an absent father, not having a mother that really played the role as a mother, we tend to like I got to look out for me. Like, I'm going to come through for me. Like, we just are so used to doing everything for ourselves. So when we do have to ask, or we don't really ask for something, but if somebody does do something for us, then it's always like, I feel like, well, now I have to do something in return, or now I owe you something, or it's hard for me. And God's really trying to teach me how to be a daughter, because he comes through for me and loves me in ways that I'm like, it's not because of anything I've done or not anything because I have to do, but he's just loving me because he loves me. So I'm still learning that one. But I struggle with asking for help. But I think it's finding the people in your life that I think like are assigned to you. Like my mentor, he kind of knows what I need even before I need it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I don't even have to ask. Like literally, like 2 weeks ago, I was going through it. And I woke up to a text, and he said, Zoom, 9 o'clock. This was off schedule, and I was like, oh, Lord. He's like, bring your notebook. And we got on there, and when he was like, I couldn't even sleep last night. God had you on my heart. I was up getting, like, all this stuff together, and it was everything that I needed, and he didn't even know I needed it. So I think it's really being intentional on who you're connecting to, because those people in those moments when I would have probably not have wrote him and been like, Coach, you know, outside of our, you know, monthly, you know, I need you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because that's hard for me. But God laid me on his heart to come to me. So that's helped, but I still struggle with that too, to be honest.
And hold on, if my memory serves me right, your mentor was somebody that like was placed in your life before you even really went through this process for real.
Before.
Which is kind of crazy. Like that's just a testament to the fact that I think sometimes God will place people in your life before already. So sometimes it's just like looking in your backyard. Yeah.
Bro, there's a verse that someone just broke down. I didn't even know. It's the fear not, for I am with you. So apparently, like the context of that is like, whoever he was saying that to didn't even say it yet. It was just a thought, but he said it before. So it was like, yeah, God will put things in our lives that we don't even know why they're there until we know why they're there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Coach came into my life. I was still married. He was actually my supervisor at Love City. And he was kind of doing some like mentorship as us as like a couple. Right. For one, I more so played like the shadow. Again, that's something I found my identity in, was just kind of like back row or whatever. So I thought, but the more I look and like see how much Love City was for me, like Coach, Karen, like all these people that are so Shalane, like vital people in my life, like no, God put me there because he knew what I was about to be going through, you know, and he knew I needed those people. So yeah, it's crazy.
The help is there.
He will go before us.
Yeah.
He goes before us.
That's a word.
It really is.
Listen.
No, yeah, and then Jordan mentioned something a little bit like in the question that he asked, but he talked about like, of course, in terms of asking for help, but also vulnerability. And so you talked earlier and mentioned about like how I guess whenever you were, I guess, coming into a relationship with Christ, early on it was more like religion. So like, of course, like in the process of like finding like yourself and finding her, like when did you, I guess, have that breakthrough moment of like really finding God and having like that true relationship with him?
So it 100%, I feel like it started to break a little at the beginning of going to All Nations. They spoke a lot of things that really kind of helped me shift a little bit. But for me personally, it was in my desperation of like, it was just me and him. Like it literally was me and God. And the biggest lesson I'll say I learned is that realizing that I play a part in my healing and my relationship with God. I think for so long we're like, God, I need you to do this. God, I need you to do that. But I'm gonna go just binge watch Netflix and eat my chips. But you fix that situation. And it's like, no, like he's already done his part, to be honest. Like it is finished. Like now it's on us. Like what are we going to do? Like we have a part to play in our healing, in our forgiveness, in our walks with him. So I feel like that was my biggest lesson, was realizing that like I was self-sabotaging me by just like putting so much on him, putting all the work on him, to be honest, and not taking any responsibility for myself.
That's good. And then like when it comes to like, of course, that process of like that, finding that relationship, why do you think it's like important? I guess we can say why is it important to like solidify your identity in him?
I feel like anything that you put your identity outside of him was all temporary and it's all vain. It's like those things people leave, people hurt you, careers end, all these things that we think that make us who we are, they're fading. So if your identity is not in God, then you're going to constantly be in this like cycle of like, wind blowing, going everywhere. But it was only until I got to a place that I truly believed that what he said about me, like I meant that, or knowing that he meant that, you know what I'm saying? It was only then that I started to carry myself different, that I started to like look at myself different, that I started having standards and like how I love myself, I set the standard for what I expect from anyone else. So if I'm not loving myself correctly and seeing myself how God sees me, then I'm setting the bar for how everyone else will.
Facts.
And when it comes to your book, we kind of touched on vulnerability like a couple of questions ago, but when it comes to your book, do you ever fear how people are going to respond to your 100%. Openness and everything? Because I think that's something a lot of people deal with when sharing their testimony, is that fear of like, what are people going to think? What are they going to say? But I think your testimony is like your defense. When you look in the Bible, like Paul, every courtroom he went into, like that was his defense, was his testimony. Yeah. So how did you kind of get over that fear of like sharing your testimony and being open?
Well, first, what's that verse where something by the words of our lips and what is it? We're something by the something of our testimony.
Oh.
I hear it all the time. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that for me, I just kept, like telling myself, but no, I'm 100% like, I'm still like nerd, because obviously it hasn't released yet. And I want people, like, my main thing is like, I want people to know I'm writing from healing and not hurting. I'm not like, this isn't like and I literally say this in like probably the first 5 pages of my book, where it's like, this isn't a gossip session. This isn't a woe is me. Like, I'm not trying to have like victim mentality. If anything, like, I choose to look at myself as a victor because of everything I went through. So it's like, I just don't want people to misinterpret the things that I share in my book, and like take it as like, I can't believe she said this, or I can't, or she's just pity party her. Like, no, like, So why are you
not your book being in the shade room?
Oh my God.
Not the book being in the shade room. But that's a good point. I like that you're writing from a place of healing and not hurt.
Yeah. Right. But so how I get past it is just, if God called me to do it, I'm going to do it regardless. I mean, people got something to say about everything, anything, anyone. I mean, so at the end of the day, if he called me to do it, I'm going to trust that it was for a reason and just go with it. Do it scared.
Yeah, do it scared.
Do it anyway.
Yeah,
do it anyway. But the verse is, it's we're set free by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony.
There it is.
We say that all the time. I don't know how we forgot it. But
I know. I literally tell myself all the time. I don't know how I forgot it.
But no, that's the verse.
Right.
Yes.
So what role did therapy play in the process along with God? Because I think a lot of Christians kind of deal with this like idea of, if I go to therapy, is that me saying like God isn't enough? And it's like, how do I balance that? How does that work? Because I have a friend that's actually kind of dealing with those thoughts right now. So what role did therapy play, and like what did that look like?
So I feel like therapy gives you like strategy to like really walk out the things that we're like bringing to God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like a strategy plan. Like, I go in there and I'm like, hey, whatever comes to surface, whatever we're going to dig up, but it helps me reveal things in me that I didn't even know was there. That's why I responded this way, or that's why I reacted, or this is why I am how I am. And I hate the people that are like, this is just who I am, because I've been through too much to know that like you can work it out. Like you can be different. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like both are vital, but they both play hand in hand. Like, going to therapy does not mean I'm taking anything away from God, because God's in my therapy session. Like, I bring up God all the time. Like, my therapist, for one, is a Christian. I think that that's important, to who you're giving your ears to, who's pouring into you, that it's aligning with God and his word and things like that. But I think it's just a strategy to help walk out everything that you are bringing to God, it helps give you better language for resolve and, all the things like that.
Right. That reminds me of the scripture, like, talks about God saying, like, cast your cares upon me. So therapy is kind of just like you're figuring out what the cares that you need to cast, right? That's
literally. Yeah, it just brings to like surface things. Like I said, like, there's some things that came from writing and therapy that I didn't even know I still dealt with. Like, literally, it's so crazy. So crazy.
So did you have like any reservations going into it, like, at first? Because like we did an episode on that. I guess it was a few months ago now, like far removed, but Jesus in therapy. Yeah. And so I think that is like a super huge part of like finding yourself, your identity. Like you said, I guess like reiterating it now, like combing through what has happened and what has taken place, so you can like give that all to God so he can deal with it and refine you the way he needs to. So like, what did you have any reservations at first? Like, what did that look like? Or was it something like, okay, at this point I need to go? You know what I mean? Like, what did that?
Yeah, so it actually came into my life. It was everything I didn't even know I need. Kind of like one of those things that we talked about. Because like Coach, my mentor, his wife is my therapist. So when he started mentoring us, because it started, like I said, me and Coach and my ex, that was, our mentor program or whatever. But he was like, I have a wife, because we were going through things in our marriage, obviously. And he was like, I think you guys need to get in therapy and things like that. And we was just like, I guess people have such a negative outlook. Like, they think like your life has to literally be like falling apart.
Yeah, of course.
And I will be in therapy forever, not because there's anything wrong, but because I am committed to like making sure I am my best self. And that's one of the things that like help me be better. Like, how can I change if I'm not even self-aware of what I need to change? Like, so I'll be in therapy forever. But Coach had said his wife was a therapist, and so whatever. So we met her, and she was like, God told me to give y'all 10 free sessions. So we had no excuse. Like, we literally had no, like, it couldn't be finances anymore, because people use that too. It's like, it's too expensive. But yet they'll go out and put an investment in what they look like, but not what their inside looks like. You know what I'm saying? No, that is I'll probably say that's my biggest pet peeve is when my friends are venting to me and I'm like, you really should, go to therapy about that. Like, dig that up a little bit.
Sure.
And they're like, it's $120 a session. I'm like, you spent $120 this week on food.
Crazy.
Food alone.
Crazy.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So like that, to me, people are more worried about what they look like than what their inside looks like.
Right.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
It really is.
So yeah, so at that point we had no excuse. It was free. So that's when we got in therapy, and that's when I realized, like, this is everything I didn't even know I needed.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, 100%. And then we, you've been getting on me and Jordan about this lately, y'all. So like we've been in the process of finding a new home church.
Yeah.
I think, did we mention that on the podcast?
At one point.
I don't know if we told y'all that, but yeah, there's like a transition that happened in our old church. And so like we're no longer there. And so like I guess the past really 6 months, I guess 7 now, going 8. We've been looking for
it's been a minute.
Yeah, a minute, like looking for like a consistent church home to like go to, and obviously just getting poured into consistently, making sure that like it's not even like just checking off a box of like attending church, but it's all about making sure that we're staying in community. Yep. And so like Brittany has definitely like, pushed us and challenged us in that area.
And we appreciate her for it.
100%. But I just want to know more about like where you're at now in terms of like church wise, and like how that's even helped you in this process of like, being under, the leadership that you're under now, and being able to connect and serve. Like, how has that played in the process of like your overall like just growth in your life and finding like, where you're at?
So for one, I'll say, because the whole church split thing too, I went through that, and it's rough when you're like out there looking and you ain't finding anything that's like fitting. Well, for me, like I have kids, so I can't just like, it can't just work for me. I have to like make sure it works for Chrislyn and MJ and all that. So I tried a lot of churches, and it just wasn't it. It never hit. But January, we tried this new church, which is the Kingdom Center, which I will say, I don't even know if I ever even told you guys this. I stayed away from that church for so long. Like, because
why?
So the first time I got a divorce, because you guys know I divorced him and then remarried him, and like that's a whole part of the testimony, whatever. But the first time we divorced, he had moved on, and him and his new person went to that church.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it was one of my triggers or whatever, my emotional, like, oh, that's where they went. I could never go. When it was like, girl, it was like 4 years ago. Like, and they went there.
Did you put that in the book?
And they went there like twice.
Put that in the book?
I don't know if I put that, like the church, Hope Church thing.
Okay,
but yeah, I did put the divorce thing.
Right.
Like, like divorcing, remarrying.
I was like, okay,
that's a plot twist, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hang with it. It don't make sense. But yeah, so my emotions kept me from that church, just because, I don't know, I felt like for some reason I was like, that's where they went. Like, and they went there like maybe twice, 3 times. It wasn't even like they were members and they served. It was weird for me. Yeah. But I had got so just like discouraged. Like, we had tried so many churches, and like church is just a big deal to me, because like community is important.
Yes.
Serving is important. So yeah, all the things. But I finally just had made a decision. It was literally a Saturday. I had wrote Abby, my friend Abby, and I was just like, let's just try it. I'm just gonna go. Like, I don't care how I feel about it, whatever. And literally from that day one, we have not missed a service. From January 1st, we have not missed a service. Sundays or Wednesdays, we in there.
I got you.
All the way.
Yeah.
But being there, the leadership is amazing. Literally. They lead with such like grace and conviction. Like, that's what I love. Like, I'm like, because that's what I love about Michael Todd too. Like, I can be like encouraged and all the things, and those services are nice, but I want something that's gonna like check me, like check me, cut me, because like I want to be better, I want to grow and all the things. So yeah, that's what I love about them. Pastor Stephanie's amazing. Their kids are amazing. The youth ministry is amazing. MJ loves class. Like, literally, when I say just as collectively as a whole, it's just been amazing. So
yeah, how did that tie into just like your own personal growth and
okay, so I'll say this, because in the beginning of my journey of finding her, I did not have a home church. It was all, but that's when I feel like God became real to me. Like, because I literally had to get to know, like I was seeking him for a word rather than going to church to get a word.
That's good.
So it was in those moments when, like, of course I was watching Michael Todd and things like that, but worship, guess what? Ain't no lights, it's just me in my office and my yoga mat, and we going in. But it was in those moments that God became so real to me. So it was only January of this year that I like actually found a home church.
100%.
So I think it was that season of not having a church was just as needed as having a church.
No, that's fine.
So it's a balance of both.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I remember, what did you say one time? It was we were talking about just like all the opportunities that have been like opening up to you and stuff like that. So in terms of just like doors being open to you and God's favor in your life, how did that like show itself while you were finding yourself? Like,
yeah, so I feel like I've noticed it more this past year. It started again around January. Just things just kept just like, it was just like, this is only God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for one, my therapist literally was like, God told me to tell you it's free for you. And I was like, what? And she was like, this whole year, you don't have to pay for one therapy session. It's free for you. And I was just like, y'all know how expensive therapy is? I was like, listen. And I was like, thank you. But she's like, God told me to tell you that. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. Crystalline going to youth camp at church, someone came up and was like, I want to pay for this. And like, free for you. Like, that word just kept like, and there's been many things that have just been like free for me, which has been crazy. But just opportunities of like, the radio station finding me, the job that I have, it's a fitness coach finding me, the person who bought my house found me, trying to think of other things. But the word behind that though is like, the more that I find me, everything that's attached to me is finding me. Like, I ain't gotta look for it. I ain't gotta do nothing. Like, it's finding me.
No, that's so fire. But like, so in terms of like, of course, like the book and everything that you've written, what do you want people to take away from this book as they finish and as they go through? Okay.
So the biggest thing I feel like, for one, that I want my family to take away is, like I mentioned in the beginning, like, this is my seed. Like, I'm planting the seed so my kids ain't gotta like go through the same things that I'm breaking, things that I share in this book, so that anything that's attached to my name ain't gotta go through nothing that I went through. So that's like personally family takeaway. But for a reader, just that they're worth it. That like, yes, life may have dealt you horrible hands. Yes, you've maybe been through some pain and like heartache and just things that have not made any sense, but you're worth the work. You're worth digging. You're worth healing. You're worth forgiving. You're just worth it. Do the work because you're worth it.
Do the work because you're worth it.
You're worth it.
That's the bar.
You're worth it.
Y'all heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
From B herself.
B, gang. What y'all know about it? No, that's so far. I want to say first, thank you for joining us again. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. I'm so excited for this next chapter and what's about to happen in your life. Please go ahead, plug socials, where people can find you and where they can buy the book, because it's out now, y'all. Yeah, it's out now. It's available for purchase.
Out now, all platforms. I believe it's gonna be like Walmart, Target, obviously all those sites. iVisionPress.com.
Y'all gonna be able to find it, baby.
Listen, DM me. They'll be in my trunk. You feel me? That's the best. That's the best way to, honestly.
Is it an ebook or just like a physical book?
It's just a physical book.
Okay, physical books, which you can buy them on. You said Walmart, Target. We'll link them in the description below, and then your contact, IGs, TikToks. Where can they find you? Let the people know.
Be Weird. I think it's my IG, right? Be Weird. Let me look.
She on your account.
I don't do like yeah, it's just Be Weird.
Okay, Be Weird on IG, and then you can find the rest of her socials from there.
Yeah,
right? Okay, that works.
Let's do that.
I guess since we're vloggers now, should we vlog when we go to the release party?
Yes.
Since we're vloggers now,
and that'll be y'all's 1 year, August 13th.
I forgot about that.
That could be some footage. We might be able to vlog the little release party we go to for finding her.
I mean, if we did it would be out by now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, so y'all already saw the vlog. if we end up doing it, but
see, I'm confused. Y'all think? Listen, I'm like y'all doing dates and times and talking in future.
That's crazy. No, so
creator.
any closing remarks? Anything else you want to say? You're good.
No, I'm good. I just want to say thank you.
good.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm super excited for you. Make sure y'all go and publish. I was gonna say publish. Make sure y'all go and buy the book, support, go follow her, find her on all her socials, and connect. And yeah, y'all know what it is. Stay you,
stay real,
and stay humble. We'll catch y'all next week. Much
We
love.
out.